Creation's Journey to Life, Day 32, Mind Authority. I forgive myself that I have accepted and allowed myself to not realize that if I am not the authority that directs my mind as what is best for all life, that which I accept as the automated response as my thoughts and feelings will direct my mind and create the pattern that will become the actions of my body with the feelings that justify why I allow the actions I take and confirm the loop of self-deception as the total image I have accepted as my likeness. I forgive myself that I have accepted and allowed myself to not realize that my mind is the tool with which I pattern my actions in the physical world, and that if I allow beliefs or experience to be my authority instead of common sense best for life actions, I will justifiably become part of the abuse of life on earth without question, as the question as to what is best for all life will not even exist in my mind, as I have allowed only what serves my self-interest to exist in my mind. I forgive myself that I have accepted and allowed myself to not realize that if I do not have an exact copy of everything that exists in the physical world as the human system, I will not be able to trust any assessment I make with the mind, and the conclusions I come to will be based only on my limited allowed consideration, that in most cases I have limited out of fear, that I will not be able to be the authority in all movements in the mind, and therefore I denied anything I feared, which is mostly the darkness and negative, and create a delusional positive view that is in no way a blueprint of the actual physical reality, with justifications why my mind reality is apparently correct, while the physical reality clearly shows that I am out of touch with how things in the physical really actually function. I forgive myself that I have accepted and allowed myself to create a point of spitefulness in the mind as my card of authority with which I can manipulate anyone through simply refusing to see what is best for all life, and in that to hold on to what is best for me only, regardless of what the pattern of human behavior as mind patterning shows in the physical world. I forgive myself that I have accepted and allowed myself to not realize that in accepting human nature as the pattern that now exists in the physical world, I have abdicated my directive authority in the mind to the pattern and therefore the world and life. And I, as the real authority, will not exist but as a follower to the pattern, only playing it to make sure I win, and therefore satisfy my self-interest and my fear of all other humans, which I realize are doing exactly what I am doing in the mind, with allowing the programmed patterns to ride with no authority that is based on the integrity to live what is best for all life in every way. I forgive myself that I have accepted and allowed the authority of the family to supersede the authority of me as life, allowing each newborn child to be taught to abdicate directive will as life to the accepted patterns of the human race that is based on self-interest within a system of money and control, justified through beliefs and faith, in spite of the simplicity that exists here as breath, to be the authority in the mind and create a living flesh, living word, self, as the body in harmony with the mind that will be best for all life and thus best for me as well. I forgive myself that I have accepted and allowed myself to use the self-talk in the mind to be based only on creating a world that is best for me, and to accept through this no responsibility for what is being allowed to be the way of the human in abusing the planet and each other with total disregard. I forgive myself that I have accepted and allowed myself to not investigate the inner workings of the mind and how the mind became flesh in spite of the evidence in my backchat that real evil exists in the mind as judgment, comparison, gossip, competition, jealousy, and all measure of nastiness whenever I feel in the mind that I am not getting my way. I forgive myself that I have accepted and allowed myself to not make the decision to claim back the authority in my mind to make sure I direct my mind as what is best for all life, in spite of realizing that what is best for all life is the only answer that is best for me as life, and that I have not realized that if and when I deny what is best for all life, I am actually allowing fear to make the decision on my behalf. I forgive myself that I have accepted and allowed myself to place a value system in my mind that overrides all common sense through the money system of self-interest, where I am then constantly assessing and calculating how I could get more money to survive and buy the life I want, and in this way not seeing that I have abdicated the value of life to the value of money, and that in doing so, my starting point of thought and decisions are without authority, as I have given authority to money to have the veto right in all I do and think. I forgive myself that I have accepted and allowed myself to not realize that dominion on earth first means dominion in the mind, and that whatever I allow to be dominant in the mind will be my authority. And through this, I will abdicate my directive will as creator in the mind to the image and likeness that I allow in my mind to make decisions on my behalf, thus abdicating my right to life and my responsibility to take care of life as creator in ways that is best for all life in every way. I forgive myself that I have accepted and allowed myself to not realize that the mind is the tool with which I program my decisions and actions into the flesh, as the example of the living flesh as myself, with the consequence that goes with it in space and time, and that as long as I allow the authority of my mind to be not me as what is best for all life, I will keep participating in creating a world that is abusive towards life and that will only place the interest of the tainted self-acceptances first. I forgive myself that I have accepted and allowed myself to not realize the benefits of the mind and how it teaches me about me, and how the flesh patiently, over time, has allowed itself to show me to what extent I have allowed fear to govern life without any regard to the most basic principles of civility and equality as life, and that I deserve to be confined on earth in my own prison till I stop and take responsibility for myself as life and of each other as life. I commit myself to show that to claim that one is standing as the authority as life in the mind without directing every pattern to result in the living flesh as that which is best for all life is just self-deception and a false image. I commit myself to question each human as to the authority allowed to direct the mind, till only self as life and everyone direct the mind to result as what is best for life as the living flesh as self-realized. I commit myself to challenge every belief and experience and feeling as to its result and authority, if it is not resulting in what is best for all life in every way. I commit myself to show that the mind can only function in the interest of life if all parts of existence is available for direction and nothing is denied. I commit myself to show that any refusal to direct self as mind and flesh is only indicating a lack of authority as life. I commit myself to show that the current psychology in the world is not what is best for all life, as it promotes self-abuse through a lack of understanding as to the actual functionality of the mind and its interaction with the living flesh. I commit myself to show that the mind can only be life when it is, in fact, acting in all ways in the best interest of all life always. I commit myself to show that a pattern in the mind and flesh is only a life pattern when the result of the pattern is that which is best for all life. I commit myself to show that to challenge an abusive pattern to stop is never abuse, and anyone claiming such is in fact only protecting the right to abuse life and must be called to responsibility no matter what. I commit myself to show that to allow any programming of the mind through parenting, education, religion, consumerism, or any other way that is not best for all life is in fact a crime against life that should be held accountable till it is stopped in the way that crime has been held accountable in the system currently. I commit myself to show that the only valid authority on earth ever has always only been life, and any other claim of authority is a crime against life using fear to manipulate and control. I commit myself to show that any self-talk that results in self-interest is abusive to life and must be held accountable till it's stopped. I commit myself to show that each human in fact knows what they are doing in the secret space of the mind and requires a reminder of the consequence that must be faced for abuse allowed. I commit myself to show that fear only exists as a justification for self-interest and abuse. I commit myself to show that all political and economic and money systems only exist as a response to fear and to give authority to abuse. I commit myself to restore the dominion of life on earth in ways that are best for all life. I commit myself to restore the mind to its rightful place as a tool through which self can correct self to be that which is best for all life. I commit myself to show that the mind will always remain in a prison till life is actually authority as self in the mind. Only then will the prison end.